Hello everybody, Allison here from Ascending Spirit, coming to you live from Winter Park, Colorado. Today I want to talk a little bit about Pitta because we have entered the Pitta time of year. This is the season of summer moving into early fall, and Pitta is governed by fire and water. And so what I've got today is just a handful of things that will help you to maintain balance. And today we're going to talk more about diet. So in a previous blog post or a previous social media post, I mentioned that there are a couple of types of taste that you want to favor in order to keep that fire element from flaring out of control right now. One of them is the bitter of taste. So bitter, think bitter leafy greens, think almost every culinary herb, a lot of the spices, these are all bitters. There's also bitter tinctures that often people will use for a digestive churn out. For pittas in particular, you will know that you've started to move into an imbalanced state because of indigestion. So the seat of pitta is right here in the upper GI, so your stomach and the upper portion of the small intestine. And often what happens is the water element is no longer containing the fire in your stomach and in the GI. And so the acidity of all of those digestive enzymes, which are kind of penetrating and helping to break down the food, actually start to create a little discomfort for the tissues if they're not contained appropriately within that mucosa. And so one of the things that we do is we like to use a digestive churna about 15 minutes before eating. For my pittas out there, I recommend avapattakar. So this is, let's see, can you see it? A little bit of a glare. Can we get there? Maybe? Okay, so avapattakar, this is the Banyan brand, is a wonderful digestive churna. You take it about 15 minutes before a meal, mix it with some water, or take it with about 4 ounces of room temperature, not cold. You don't want ice in this water. The goal here is that we want to get your digestive enzymes going, but this is a cooling bitters, and so it's not going to create additional heat in the body. Okay, so avapattakar, 15 minutes before a meal with water. Another thing is that you want to start to favor the sweet taste. So think sweet. This is ghee. This is by, I believe, Pure India. It is a grass-fed organic ghee. I also really like the Farm True brand. Both of those are excellent. Farm True has a bit of a slightly different texture and taste than the Pure India. One is a bit higher in price, so the Farm True is higher in price, and then the Pure India is about a moderately priced. Both being organic grass-fed, this is kind of important because you don't want to put a bunch of chemicals in your body. This is the sweet taste. So when we think sweet, most people in a Western diet will think anything with refined sugar, so baked goods, cookies, things of this nature. Yes, those are considered the sweet taste. However, refined sugar will increase acid. And so that's what we're trying to decrease during the Pitta summertime of the year, because your fire element is already being provoked. The sun is high in the sky, you're staying outside longer, you're probably grilling more. And so you want to favor the sweet taste, but you want to do it with things like ghee, with lean meats, or game meat is quite nice this time of year, with whole grains. So this is quinoa. I also like to use millet at this time of year. Any of the different types of rice. So black rice is fantastic. You could also use wild whole grain rice, or basmati is the lowest glycemic index, so you're not going to have as big of an insulin spike if you choose to use basmati. All whole grains are considered the sweet taste. Other sweet taste would be dairy. Being, cognizant that cheese is actually a sour and a sweet, so that sour taste will actually increase the fire element. So sour is earth and fire together, and you want to make sure that we're tamping down that fire element, so keeping it contained, making sure that it's not flaring out of control and creating tissue damage. Okay, so the sweet taste would be whole grains. Any of your meats, be careful with red meat right now, because red meat is high in acid as well. So any of your game meats, ghee, any of your oils, so avocado oil, we like sesame oil quite a bit. Steer clear of any of your seed oils, so corn, safflower, canola. All of these are actually quite toxic in the body, and so you want to stick with really nice pure oils, like coconut oil would be fantastic. Coconut is cooling as well, so there's another tip. CCF, so when I talked about those bitters, some of your culinary herbs have more of a heating effect and some have a cooling effect. One of the ones that has a cooling effect is going to be coriander, which is the seed form of cilantro. Cilantro has a lovely cooling effect. It's also a great palate cleanser. Parsley has a heating effect. Now, both being bitters are going to help tamp down that fire just a bit, and they're going to help to get saliva going, and the tissues and the organs will start to secrete. And we need that secretion to contain the fire in the digestive tract, so especially in the stomach. So CCF stands for coriander, cumin, and fennel. Fennel is also a cooling herb. And if you mix a little bit of this, so this is a Banyan brand. I also carry Pure India. Both are organic. Really like these. All you have to do is take about a tablespoon of that, put it into a pint or a quart size mason jar, fill it with purified water, add some fresh mint to that, stick it out in the sun, allow it to steep. You've made yourself a really nice sun tea. And this has more of a savory taste to it. So it's not going to be overly sweet, and it's not going to have as much of the bitter astringent that tea often has. This is going to have more of a mild. So your tongue is not going to get dried out like it often would with a black tea or a green tea. So CCF, coriander, cumin, fennel. You can start using and mixing in any kind of mint, spearmint, peppermint, sweet mint, any kind of mint is going to be amazing. Add in some basil, oregano, fresh herbs right now on top of any meal is really going to go a long way for keeping things cooled off and for helping you to salivate and creating their secretagogues, so the creating that mucus and that water. Another great thing for pittas is going to be, again, that sweet flavor. If you're wanting something sweet, dairy products like milk, ice cream, cream, all of those are going to be a sweet taste as well, but so is honey. So go for something that's raw, preferably local, and get some honey, and taking just a little bit of honey each day. And I would say, probably no more, especially if you're having a pitta flare up, no more than a quarter teaspoon. Honey actually has a heating effect on the digestion, but that sweet flavor will help you to tamp down the fire. So you don't go overboard if you're having a pitta flare up. Something unrelated to food, but I also wanted to bring it up, is rose water. Rose water, so again, kind of a glare here. There we go. Rose water. This is an organic brand by Pure India as well. Spritzing it on your face, it's a wonderful tonic, so it actually will help to rejuvenate the skin. But the smell is amazing for pittas. It's a calming effect. So anything that has kind of a sweet floral smell is going to be great for pittas. Steer clear of essential oils that include things like eucalyptus. Eucalyptus would be okay in moderation. Just be really cognizant that it is an invigorator. Grapefruit also is very invigorating. Bergamot, anything with orange in it, it's going to be very invigorating. So you want to stick with things that are going to be more sweet, like patchouli, the rose. Lavender would be quite nice for calming pitta at this time of year as well. And then I want to point out that there are spritzers. So this is Pavani. Pavani is also an organic brand. They create all kinds of wonderful body oils that are doshic balancing. So they have a tri-dosh, they have pitta, vata, and kapha. And rubbing the oil on your body will not only keep it hydrated and keep moisture trapped inside during this time of overheating, but the smell and the particular type of oil that they have decided to use for pitta in particular, because it's infused with herbs and it's a coconut oil base, actually is cooling to the body. So for example, if I was to use a vata specific oil right now, that is sesame based, and sesame is heating. So that would not necessarily be great for anybody that's having a pitta flare up. But spritzers like this one that has some of these herbs and essential oils already mixed in with purified water, you just spritz it on yourself, soak in that yummy goodness, smell it, and just allow that to kind of wash over you. It's actually quite calming and cooling. So that's just a handful of tips and tricks. The foods to favor right now are going to be anything in the sweet taste, the bitter taste, and a hint of sour, just to kind of get things flowing, but you don't want a ton during pitta season because it does have the fire element in it. Astringent would be great. That's your air and ether elements, so that's going to help to draw things out, but you don't want to go overboard on that either because you will dry yourself out, so you don't want to dehydrate. You could also incorporate a tiny, tiny bit of pungent, particularly if you're living in a hotter climate, maybe more humidity. A tiny bit of pungent would help to balance out kind of the temperature on the inside with the temperature outside. And let's see, what am I missing? We've talked about pungent, sweet, sour, salty. Salty. So right now is the time of dehydration because you're going to be outdoors more, you're sweating more, the sun is out more, so you're just naturally drawing moisture out of the body. And what you're going to want to do is rehydrate with electrolytes. So really, really important, got to have those electrolytes. Otherwise, you don't have the electrical conductivity for the nervous system to settle down and your fascia begins to dry out. And your fascia is that interconnective tissue that actually sends those signals up and down the body. And your nerves are actually embedded in that fascia tissue. So need to make sure that you're getting some electrolytes. If you want something that's a little bit different, I would go for unsweetened coconut water. If you can find maple water, that's great. You could also add some trace mineral drops. If you're not dealing with edema, then you can use pink Himalayan salt, and that's going to have a ton of trace minerals in it: zinc, iron, potassium, manganese, magnesium, calcium. All of these are really great at bringing in that conductivity again. Let's see. With regard to hydration, make sure that you're drinking the appropriate amount for you, for your dosha. You can find out more information on that. Plus, you can learn all about the sweet, or all about all of the tastes and the doshas, and ways to balance those doshas during the different times of year on our members portal. We also have the Ayurveda Knowledge Base. Those are two different memberships. If you do an annual membership, the Ayurveda Knowledge Base is already included. If you just want to understand Ayurveda more, then you would subscribe to that package. Both are available. Right now, we're doing a special on the Ayurveda Knowledge Base where you can take $2 off every month for the first full year of your subscription. I hope that you found this, guys, really interesting, because I always do. This is the time of year when people like to grill, they like to be outside, they like to consume a little bit more alcohol. Just remember that, your big fire contributing elements are going to be anything with acid. So that pungent taste, lots of spicy food, alcohol, refined sugar, red meat, chocolate, cheese, anything fermented with vinegar, pickles, things like that. These are all going to increase that fire element, and you will know you are out of balance when your skin starts to be flushed, when you're much more oily than typical, when you're processing your food and you've got really fast metabolism. So loose stools are typically a common sign. And then that indigestion, the heat rising back up, creating that full and bloated pressure feeling where you can't take a full breath. Those are some of your common signs: blemishes, skin rashes, any kind of redness, rosacea. This is also very common that happens during the Pitta time of year. All right, I will check you here another time. Bye.